Fame makes stars seem untouchable. But behind the cameras, some of Hollywood's biggest names have stared death right in the face. From freak accidents to on-set disasters, these moments prove just how thin the line between life and tragedy can be.
You don't know me and I don't know you, and we are not having this conversation at all.
What would you do if your favorite star's career, or their life, ended in an instant? Stick around, because these stories will have you holding your breath and questioning just how close it all came. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio isn't just Hollywood's golden boy. He's a man who has cheated death more than once. While skydiving in California, his parachute failed to open. For terrifying seconds, he plummeted toward the ground until an instructor managed to pull a backup chute at the very last moment. Imagine being seconds from impact, then suddenly feeling the snap of a parachute cord saving your life. But the danger didn't stop there. On a commercial flight to Russia, one of the plane's engines exploded mid-air. Flames shot out of the wing, passengers screamed, and panic spread through the cabin. DiCaprio later joked about it, but anyone who has been on a turbulent flight knows how horrifying that moment must have been. The world knows him for Titanic, but his real-life brushes with disaster are just as epic. DiCaprio's survival stories remind us that even the man who played Jack Dawson has been closer to the edge than fans ever realized. He's not just a star, he's a survivor. Harrison Ford. You know him as Indiana Jones, dodging bullets, snakes, and ancient traps. But Harrison Ford's most dangerous battles have been in the skies. An experienced pilot, Ford has had multiple crashes that could have easily ended his life. In 1999, his helicopter went down during a training flight. He walked away, but the wreckage was a chilling reminder that even pros aren't safe. Then in 2015, Ford was flying a vintage World War II plane when the engine failed. He crash-landed on a Los Angeles golf course, the impact crushing the plane and injuring him badly. Witnesses thought he was gone on the spot. Doctors called it a miracle that he survived. Ford himself once said flying makes him feel alive. But how close is too close? Fans can only wonder how many lives Indiana Jones has left. For a man famous for daring escapes on screen, his real-world survival stories feel like a movie script that went horribly wrong. Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler nearly didn't walk away from the movie that was supposed to celebrate courage. While filming Chasing Mavericks, a film about legendary surfers, Butler found himself caught in the very waves the story warned about. During one scene, he was pulled underwater by a massive wave and pinned down by the ocean's fury. Crew members screamed as Butler failed to resurface. For over a minute, the actor was thrashed under the water, unable to breathe before being dragged out by jet skis. Paramedics rushed to treat him, and the world almost lost one of its action stars to the same ocean he was trying to honor. Butler later admitted that he thought he was done for in those moments. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. An actor known for tough guy roles almost drowned making a movie about bravery. His brush with death proves that Hollywood sets can blur the line between fiction and reality in ways nobody expects. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone built his career on playing indestructible heroes, but in Rocky IV, the danger became all too real. While filming the brutal fight scene with Dolph Lundgren, Stallone pushed for realism, telling Lundgren to hit him harder. The result? A punch so powerful it slammed Stallone's chest and stopped his heart for a few seconds. The impact sent him straight to intensive care. Doctors discovered that his heart had swollen dangerously against his ribcage. He spent 9 days in the hospital, barely surviving what was meant to be just another movie stunt. For a man who turned boxing into cinematic legend, the irony of nearly dying in the ring wasn't lost on anyone. Fans expected Rocky Balboa to take hits on screen, but they never expected Stallone's life to hang in the balance behind the scenes. His survival wasn't just luck. It was proof that even Hollywood's toughest legends aren't invincible. Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron nearly lost everything in a stunt gone wrong. While filming the futuristic action film Aeon Flux, she attempted a backflip during a wire stunt. Instead of landing gracefully, she fell straight onto her neck. The impact was devastating, leaving her temporarily paralyzed and forcing the entire production to shut down for weeks. Doctors warned that the injury could have ended her career, or even her ability to walk. For months, Theron lived in pain, her future uncertain. Imagine going from one of the most glamorous stars in Hollywood to lying in a hospital bed, unsure if you'd ever move freely again. But Theron didn't give up. With intense rehab, she fought her way back and eventually returned to the screen stronger than ever. That terrifying accident is a reminder that the fight for survival doesn't just happen in scripts. Sometimes it happens when the cameras aren't rolling. George Clooney. George Clooney's charm has always made him look untouchable, but on the set of Syriana, the role almost cost him his life. During a torture scene, Clooney suffered a severe spinal injury after hitting his head. What looked like a routine accident turned into months of excruciating pain. Doctors later revealed that the injury tore fluid from his spine, leaving him with headaches so brutal he contemplated giving up acting altogether. Clooney admitted he would lie in bed, wondering if he'd make it through the day. At one point, he couldn't move without feeling like his skull was splitting apart. The accident forced him into multiple surgeries and a long, grueling recovery. Fans thought they were watching a confident star at award shows, but behind the smiles, Clooney was barely holding it together. It's a reminder that Hollywood glamour hides real struggles. Clooney's survival story isn't about a car crash or a plane going down. It's about enduring pain so severe that even life itself felt uncertain. And yet, he came back stronger, proving that resilience can be just as heroic as any role he's ever played. Isla Fisher. When you watch a magic act on screen, the danger feels like smoke and mirrors. But for Isla Fisher in Now You See Me, it was horrifyingly real. Playing a magician trapped in a tank of water, Fisher had to perform while locked in chains. But during one take, things went horribly wrong. The safety release system jammed, leaving her trapped underwater for nearly 3 minutes. At first, the crew thought her frantic struggling was just good acting. By the time they realized something was wrong, she had already inhaled water and was seconds from drowning. In interviews later, Fisher admitted she genuinely thought it was the end. The incident shook fans when the truth came out. A glamorous Hollywood stunt had almost claimed a star's life. The irony? The scene was meant to dazzle audiences with illusions of danger, not real-life peril. Isla Fisher's terrifying brush with death shows just how quickly movie magic can turn into a nightmare. What was supposed to be entertainment almost became a tragedy. Tom Cruise. If there's one actor known for pushing his own limits, it's Tom Cruise. From dangling off planes to leaping between skyscrapers, Cruise has made a career out of death-defying stunts. But in 2017, during Mission Impossible: Fallout, the danger finally caught up with him. Cruise attempted a rooftop jump between 2 buildings in London. He miscalculated by inches, slamming into the side of the building instead of clearing the gap. The impact shattered his ankle. Cameras kept rolling as he dragged himself up, refusing to break character. What fans didn't see was the sheer risk behind the stunt. If his body had shifted just slightly, he could have fallen dozens of feet onto solid concrete. The film shut down for months while he recovered, but Cruise insisted on returning to finish the scene himself. For audiences, it was another only Tom Cruise would do this moment. But for the actor, it was a brutal reminder that one wrong move can turn adrenaline into tragedy. He's fearless, sure, but not invincible. Halle Berry. Halle Berry has faced villains on screen, but her scariest fight was against a simple accident. While filming Die Another Day with Pierce Brosnan, a love scene went dangerously wrong. Barry was supposed to eat a piece of fruit playfully during the shot, but she choked. Suddenly, she couldn't breathe. Brosnan had to leap into action, giving her the Heimlich maneuver as the crew froze in shock. For a few terrifying moments, an Oscar-winning star's life hung in the balance over something as small as a figure. The near-death scare made headlines and later became one of Barry's most retold stories. The idea that a Bond girl, strong, glamorous, and seemingly untouchable, nearly died in front of cameras stunned fans everywhere. Barry laughed about it later, but the incident was deadly serious. It's a chilling reminder that danger doesn't always come from car chases or explosions. Sometimes it's something as ordinary as choking in the middle of a scene. Orlando Bloom. Before he was a global star, Orlando Bloom almost never made it to Hollywood at all. As a teenager, he fell 3 stories from a rooftop while trying to climb onto a drainpipe. The accident shattered his back, leaving doctors convinced he might never walk again. For months, Bloom lay in a hospital bed, facing the possibility of life in a wheelchair. Friends and family braced for the worst. But against all odds, he slowly regained movement through relentless rehabilitation. By sheer determination, he stood again, and eventually walked out of the hospital on his own. The experience shaped him. Years later, when fans saw him as the fearless Legolas in The Lord of the Rings, they had no idea that the actor behind the bow had once been one step from permanent paralysis. Bloom himself has called the accident a turning point. It gave him perspective on life, fame, and survival. His career could have ended before it even started, but instead, the fall became the foundation of his resilience. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan has built his career on stunts that look impossible, because most of them are. But in 1986, while filming Armor of God, one of those stunts nearly killed him. Chan leaped from a wall to a tree branch, something he had done in practice. But this time, the branch snapped. He fell headfirst onto a rock, fracturing his skull. The injury was so severe that part of his skull had to be replaced with a metal plate. For a terrifying moment, doctors weren't sure if he'd even survive. Chan later revealed he lost hearing in one ear and still carries the scar. Fans knew him as the fearless martial arts clown who could take a punch, but this accident showed just how real the risks were. Unlike most stars, Chan doesn't rely on stunt doubles. That commitment makes his films legendary, but it also nearly cost him his life. Jackie Chan turned that brush with death into another wild chapter in his story. But make no mistake, Armor of God wasn't just a movie. It was the closest he's ever come to never getting back up. Jason Statham. Jason Statham is the definition of tough on screen, but his near-death moment wasn't in a movie. It was behind the scenes of The Expendables 3. While filming a stunt, he was driving a 3-ton truck along a dock when the brakes failed. The truck crashed through the barriers and plunged into the Black Sea. Statham was trapped inside as the vehicle sank. For most people, that would have been the end. But Statham, a former competitive diver, used his training to escape underwater, swimming to safety moments before the truck disappeared. His castmates later admitted they thought they had just watched him drown. The terrifying incident became legendary on set, proving that sometimes the stunts aren't staged at all. For fans, it was another reason Statham feels larger than life. He doesn't just act like a hero, he survives like one. Still, the story is a reminder that even Hollywood's toughest action stars can come seconds away from tragedy. Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet once played a woman fighting for her life on the sinking Titanic. But her own brush with danger came years later, in a far more shocking setting. While vacationing on Richard Branson's private island in 2011, lightning struck the property and ignited a massive fire. In the chaos, Winslet ran into the burning house to rescue Branson's elderly mother, carrying her to safety. Flames roared around her as she navigated through smoke-filled halls. making her escape look like something straight out of an action movie. The fire destroyed the home, but Winslet's bravery turned headlines. Suddenly, she wasn't just the actress who played a survivor. She was one in real life. Few stars can say they've faced flames and saved another person's life, but Winslet can. Her survival story is a reminder that heroism isn't always scripted. Sometimes it comes down to instinct, courage, and the split-second decision to run into danger instead of away from it. Christian Bale. Christian Bale has transformed himself physically for roles, but one transformation nearly cost him everything. During the filming of The Machinist, Bale dropped more than 60 pounds, pushing his body to extremes that were dangerous to his health. He lived on little more than coffee and an apple a day, weighing just 120 pounds at his lowest. Doctors later warned that he had put his heart and organs at serious risk. Bale admitted he felt weak, dizzy, and close to collapse throughout the production. While the role earned him critical praise, the near-death toll on his body was staggering. And if that wasn't enough, Bale also survived a terrifying on-set fire years later during another shoot, barely escaping injury when equipment malfunctioned. Fans marvel at his dedication. But the truth is darker. Bale's drive for authenticity nearly ended his career and his life. His survival is proof of how far some actors are willing to go for their art, even if it takes them to the edge. Daniel Radcliffe. For fans, Daniel Radcliffe will always be Harry Potter, the boy who lived. But off-screen, Radcliffe had his own brush with death. While filming Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, a stunt double suffered a catastrophic accident that left heavy debris crashing down during a flying sequence. Radcliffe himself was only feet away from the falling wreckage. Crew members later admitted it was a miracle he wasn't crushed. The accident left Radcliffe shaken, knowing how easily it could have been him. For a franchise built around magic, the moment felt terrifyingly real. Radcliffe has spoken openly about how the incident changed his perspective, reminding him that stardom doesn't protect you from danger. Fans think of him as the wizard who always escapes, but in that moment, survival wasn't guaranteed. The near miss remains one of the most chilling behind-the-scenes stories in the Harry Potter saga. The boy who lived almost didn't. Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is known for his laid-back charm, but one ocean encounter nearly ended his cool forever. While surfing off the coast of California, McConaughey was caught in a rip current. Within seconds, the powerful waves dragged him far from shore, spinning him underwater and holding him down. Surfers nearby rushed in, and lifeguards paddled out to save him. Witnesses say McConaughey looked exhausted, barely able to stay afloat when help arrived. The terrifying incident shook fans when it leaked. Hollywood's fun-loving star had come close to vanishing beneath the waves. McConaughey later brushed it off with his signature humor, but the scare revealed something deeper. Fame, fitness, charisma. None of it matters when the ocean decides to take you. For a man who lives by the motto, "Just keep living," the experience was the ultimate test. It wasn't just another chapter in his adventurous life. It was proof that even stars who seem invincible are one wipeout away from disaster. Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway almost didn't make it out of a Hawaiian vacation alive. While swimming near the shore, she was caught by a riptide and dragged dangerously out to sea. Panic set in as waves battered her, pulling her farther from land. Thankfully, a surfer spotted her struggling and raced to her rescue. Hathaway was pulled back to safety, shaken but alive. Paparazzi photos later surfaced showing her limping on the beach after cutting her foot on sharp rocks during the ordeal. The incident shocked fans who saw Hathaway as a picture of grace and control. For a moment, the glamorous Hollywood star looked just like anyone else fighting to survive the ocean's grip. Hathaway later spoke about the frightening event, saying she was lucky someone was there to help. It's a chilling reminder that even a simple beach day can turn deadly without warning. The star of Les Miserables and The Dark Knight Rises wasn't playing a role this time. She was fighting for her life. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has played eccentric characters in dangerous worlds, but his real-life near-death came from something less dramatic: a horse. While filming The Lone Ranger, Depp was thrown from his horse during a galloping stunt. The fall sent him crashing to the ground, but what made it terrifying was the horse itself. As Depp hit the dirt, the animal nearly trampled him. One misstep, one misplaced hoof, and the actor could have been crushed. Crew members rushed in as Depp rolled away, just in time. He later downplayed the incident with his usual humor, but witnesses on set said it was a heart-stopping moment. Horses are unpredictable, and this one had almost ended the career and life of one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Fans saw him as Jack Sparrow, always escaping disaster with a wink and a grin. But this wasn't a script. It was a reminder that even seasoned actors can't always control the wildest elements of filmmaking. Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox gave audiences thrills with Back to the Future, but filming Part 3 almost killed him. During a scene where his character was supposed to be hanged, the stunt went wrong. The rope tightened around his neck for real. For nearly 30 seconds, Fox struggled as the cameras rolled, unable to breathe. The crew thought he was acting, until his body went limp. Finally, they realized something was wrong and cut him down. He regained consciousness, but the close call left everyone shaken. Fox later admitted that he truly thought he was going to die in that moment. The irony is chilling. A playful time travel adventure nearly turned into a tragedy on set. It's a story fans rarely think about when they watch the beloved trilogy, but for Fox, it was a reminder of just how dangerous movie magic can become. His survival makes every viewing of that scene even more haunting. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's near-death moment didn't happen on a movie set. It happened at home. As a teenager, she was nearly killed in a house fire. Flames broke out late at night, spreading quickly through the property. Barrymore managed to escape with her mother, but not before inhaling heavy smoke. Neighbors recalled the chaos as firefighters battled the blaze, with Barrymore visibly shaken outside. Had she been trapped even a few minutes longer, the outcome could have been far worse. The fire left a lasting mark on her, reminding her that survival isn't guaranteed, even away from the spotlight. For fans, it was a shocking glimpse into how fragile life can be, even for Hollywood royalty. Barrymore went on to rebuild her career, becoming a beloved actress and talk show host. But the memory of those flames lingers. Her brush with death didn't just test her resilience, it fueled the strength that would carry her through the ups and downs of fame. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's near-death moment didn't come from an accident on set. It came from a twist of fate on one of the darkest days in American history. In 2001, Wahlberg was booked to fly on American Airlines Flight 11 from Boston to Los Angeles. At the last minute, he changed his plans and took a private flight instead. That decision saved his life. Flight 11 became one of the hijacked planes on September 11th. Wahlberg later admitted that he thought about it constantly, the simple choice that spared him from tragedy. Fans saw him as a tough guy in movies like The Fighter and Lone Survivor, but this was something beyond his control. 4. Wahlberg. It wasn't about toughness. It was about luck. A canceled ticket had made the difference between life and death. It's one of those stories that makes you stop and wonder. How many other stars, or ordinary people, have brushed past tragedy without even realizing it? Wahlberg's survival wasn't filmed, rehearsed, or scripted. It was pure chance. Chevy Chase. Comedy legend Chevy Chase almost became a tragic headline early in his career. During his Saturday Night Live days, Chase was known for physical humor and slapstick falls. But one fall nearly broke more than just the audience's laughter. While rehearsing, Chase slipped from a set platform and tumbled nearly 20 feet. He landed hard, injuring his back and neck. Doctors warned that the fall could have left him paralyzed, or worse. For a moment, the future star of Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation was a step away from never walking again. Chase shrugged it off with humor, but the danger was real. The accident left lingering pain that haunted him for years. Fans only saw the laughs, but behind the scenes, Chase carried scars from a fall that could have ended everything before it even began. The story proves that sometimes the biggest risks aren't from elaborate stunts, they're from simple moments gone wrong. Comedy nearly cost Chevy Chase his life. Sharon Stone. In 2001, Sharon Stone's glamorous life nearly ended in silence. She suffered a brain aneurysm that struck without warning, collapsing in her home. For days, doctors weren't sure if she would survive. Stone later revealed that she was misdiagnosed at first, sent home even as the aneurysm bled. When she returned to the hospital, she slipped into a coma and was given slim chances of recovery. For weeks, her career and her life hung in the balance. Against all odds, Stone pulled through after brain surgery and months of recovery. But the experience changed her forever. She had to relearn basic skills and rebuild her confidence in Hollywood, where careers can vanish in an instant. The near-death scare wasn't on a set or during a stunt. It was her own body betraying her. For fans who remembered her as the fierce star of Basic Instinct and Casino, the idea of Sharon Stone lying helpless in a hospital bed was unimaginable. Her survival became its own kind of comeback story, proving that resilience can be as iconic as any role. Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen's near-death story is tied to one of the most cursed productions in Hollywood history, Apocalypse Now. In 1977, while filming in the Philippines, Sheen suffered a massive heart attack at just 36 years old. Crew members scrambled to save him, carrying him to medical help through remote jungle terrain. At the time, Sheen's condition was so dire that director Francis Ford Coppola began preparing to replace him in the film. Doctors doubted whether he would even live long enough to finish the project, but Sheen survived, pulling himself through a brutal recovery and returning to complete the film that would become one of his defining performances. His scenes carry an intensity that feels almost too real, because behind the camera, Sheen had stared death down and barely made it back. For fans, it's one of those shocking Hollywood stories that still lingers. A star in his prime, nearly lost in the middle of filming one of cinema's greatest epics. Martin Sheen didn't just survive Apocalypse Now, he survived an apocalypse of his own. Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's near-death scare didn't happen during a movie, it happened live on television. While filming an entrance stunt for the Oprah Winfrey Show in 2009, Jackman was supposed to zip-line from a rooftop into the studio audience. But the stunt went wrong. Jackman lost control, crashing into stage lights before slamming hard onto the set. The audience gasped as the actor, best known as Wolverine, clutched his eye, narrowly avoiding permanent damage or blindness. Medics rushed in as Oprah herself looked horrified. Jackman later joked about the incident, but photos showed just how close he came to disaster. A few inches difference, and the accident could have cost him far more than a bruise. For a star who thrives on pushing limits, the Oprah stunt was a reminder that even controlled environments can spiral into danger. Fans expect Wolverine to heal instantly, but Hugh Jackman is human, and that night he proved just how fragile even superheroes can be. Near-death experiences don't just happen to stunt doubles or nameless extras. They've haunted some of Hollywood's biggest stars, proving that fame doesn't shield anyone from danger. From skydiving accidents to fires and plane crashes, each story is a reminder of how thin the line between legend and tragedy really is. Which survival shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below, subscribe for more stories, and remember, even stars only get one life.